Hello and welcome into another Red Out podcast. Looks like we already got Matt in here. He's raring to go tonight. And we got some basketball, some football talk, some boring Super Bowl stuff, but let's stick with it.
Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Crazy all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
I am not ashamed to admit in the past, I've needed a therapist. We all need someone, and it's a strong person who can admit it. I talked to my doctor, who referred me to a therapist, and I really didn't have much say as to who the therapist was. But with this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp, you do. You can filter out who you would like to talk to, age, gender, religion, and more to pair you with the person who works best for you. And if the person isn't exactly who you were wanting, you're not stuck. You can switch counselors. BetterHelp strives to offer affordable, professional, and accessible online therapy. So go to betterhelp.com/redout today to save 10%. By doing this, you not only support us, you can work toward a brighter, healthier you. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. Yes, thank you to BetterHelp. We appreciate your support. If you would like, you can support us by going to betterhelp.com/redout. And it helps us out. It helps you out. It saves you 10% on your first month of BetterHelp. Matt, how's it going, buddy?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Doing good. Just a lot of running around, crazy stuff all day, and started out with an appointment for the little one. Abby turned 4, which is crazy. She turned 4 on Monday.
Get her vaxxed.
She has an appointment scheduled in April, but due to her her daycare stuff, she had to get the vaccination records updated by the 15th of February, which I don't think that they would have had an issue with it, but oh well. So I called her pediatrician's office, and they're like, "Yeah, we can send it over. That's fine." And they're like, "Well, do you want to go ahead and come on in?" So I was like, "Sure." Then I screwed up a couple weeks ago when I had my appointment, same doctor, and I did not do a fast for my yearly checkup. And so, of course, blood sugar's off the chart because I had breakfast. And I'm like, I had breakfast. And they're like, "Oh, well, let's just do it again just to be sure." And I'm like, okay, I know what it's going to say, but that's fine. So I get there, and it's this is the killer part for me. I get there, and I was like, we're going to the shot room. That's where they do the blood draw. It seems pretty standard. Hey, can you just poke my arm, get some blood? Let's do this while I'm here. Well, we'll have to make an appointment for you. Oh, okay. So I didn't say anything. I went back there. The nurse is just kind of like, she's got Facebook minimized. She hasn't been doing diddly all day. So I was like, "Hey, could you just work me in real quick?" And she goes, "Well, yeah." She's like, "If you get on the schedule, I can go ahead and do it right now." I was like, "Okay." So literally got it done. And it was like this. I don't know why this is so hard. Why couldn't you just say, "Yeah, if she's not busy, I'll work you in"? But sorry, I'm becoming old and cynical, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I digress.
Hard enough life, bro.
Well, it's just always something. And then I had an appointment with my dermatologist this afternoon, and he took a spot off the side of my leg. And he's like, "I don't think it's skin cancer, but we'll just check it and see." And I'm like, "Great."
Yeah, just chop
I've
off
got cancer. Yeah, I know, right? No. No, he actually did tell me. He's like, "I don't think it is. We'll call you and let you know." So, thanks. I'm waiting on that. But everything else is going pretty good. Can't complain.
The possible cancer on your leg.
I don't think it's skin cancer. I'm sorry. Wow, if it is, this is what's going to happen. If it is, he's going to call me back in, and he's going to cut on my leg some more until he gets it. And it's like, ow, that sounds like a blast.
I mean, what if your calves never look the same again?
I know, right? These are very shapely calves. These are shapely calves. Yes, they look like little drumsticks.
Do they still?
No, I mean, so Super Bowl talk. We'll do some Super Bowl talk real quick. Are you excited about the Super Bowl?
I mean,
Not
I always
really.
watch it. Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm not this particular matchup. I don't know. There's some interesting stuff to it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is amazing, and I am a Swiftie. Um,
Of course you are.
so, right,
My
yeah,
thing is,
absolutely.
like, first off, I hate Travis Kelce. I'm sorry. I have never had any liking of him. He seems like a
I'm starting
pompous.
to.
Well, okay,
My,
this is what happened. This is what happened
yeah,
last
you tell
year.
your stuff. I got something
Well,
too.
last year at the end of the Super Bowl, after they won the game, he's talking smack about how great they are and all this stuff. And I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. And right then, I was like, he's a punk. He's a punk. And, I love his brother. His brother seems hilarious. He seems like a great guy. Dude's jumping out of the Bill suite without a shirt on. It's hilarious. I love it. But, like, his brother,
Honestly,
I'm just
reminded me a
like,
lot of me.
Yes, that's probably what it was. I was like, he's like Matt. This is hilarious. But no, I just honestly, that was my thought. Is I'm like, he's such a punk. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I've just wrote him off ever since. It's kind of like Tim Tebow.
Douchebag.
Yeah,
Tebow.
since I traveled to Florida that time, and Tebow was a douche. Um, like I don't care how many missions he does overseas, he will always be a douche. So just saying. But that's just
he's impacted thousands of young children's lives. That one
yeah,
time
he's
he
a
made
good
you
Christian believer,
sad.
but he's a douche. So
Yeah, Travis Kelce. My wife. This is weird. Okay,
nice
listen.
transition. Go ahead.
Every time I go near her computer, she's got something about Travis Kelce and his brother or some crap with their
Jason.
podcast on. It's like she's stalking them, like she's obsessed with them. Like it's getting weird at this point.
I agree.
Other than the one time last week I got on, she was looking at guns.
Wow.
So I don't know what that means, but I mean, anyway, Travis Kelce and guns is basically what my wife is looking up on her computer now. So if anything
That's
happens
interesting.
to the tens listening, help me.
Yeah, we've had several listeners over the past few weeks, so we have.
No,
there'll be a
we
trail.
appreciate y'all.
There'll be a trail.
I had somebody tell me today that they loved our stuff and Towel Rack and Red Out and whatever. So it's kind of cool to hear somebody he's like, dude, I eat that stuff up. I love it. Keep going. It's awesome. So it feels good to know that people are out there listening. So if you do, let us know because it's nice to hear.
Yeah. I've always loved to hear from our listeners.
My wife has some kind of weird thing. I'm kind of concerned at this point. I thought she had a crush on Justin Johnson because she said he was cute one time. I always mess with her about Iggy, and now it's on to the Kelce brothers that I just give her a hard time about like having a crush on. So
see if she likes like Jason Kelce, like you should feel comfortable with that. Like
right,
he's a
threat,
fluffy,
right?
Yeah, he's a fluffy dude. Well, not a threat, but it's like that body style is not hard to recreate. I'm just saying. You just be a kind of a heavy dude, with some muscle, and you're good.
If I had chest hair, I look just like him, but I don't.
Well, okay, so the late great Cody Hughes was one of those that looked like he had a sweater on, not a shirt on. But I'm nowhere near that bad. But I have enough chest hair to cover myself. I guess it looks like a hairy tank top. How about that? It's not a sweatshirt, so I could be okay.
I have like a edible necklace of chest hair. I have like a.
I don't know where you've been eating, but that is not what you want to eat. So
those like Spencer's necklace things or whatever. Anyway, whatever.
Yes, those are creepy and nasty. So honestly, indeed. I kind of my brother. We discussed this earlier in the week about the Super Bowl and the 49ers and stuff. And his thoughts were, he said, I hate 49ers fans. And I was like, I completely agree. because they are so like apathetic about it. They're just like, if we lose, it's okay. And you're like, shut up. You made it to the Super Bowl. You really didn't have to do anything. But, you're just they're just so apathetic. It's like, ugh, I don't know.
Freaking
It's just, maybe that's just my
Californians.
opinion. Yeah, well, it's San Francisco, I guess, but
I
and
mean,
not
that's basically
everybody
the
who's a fan
Sanford
from
way.
there.
Like, bro, it's okay, man. Just like
It always next year, man. Yeah,
try another edible, bro.
Hey, here you go. Hey, Pat
Anne
Mahomes,
Marie.
man, come here. I got something for you, bro. But yeah, he, and of course, and then you go to the other side. I mean, obviously, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to break up right after, and they're going to start dating the other guy. Just like Ricky Bobby. I'm sorry, great meme. Have you seen this where Taylor Swift is going to break up with Travis Kelce and she is going to start dating? Oh shoot, who was it? And it's going to be just like Ricky Bobby and Dale from Talladega Nights. She's just going to start dating his friend, which, by the way, hilarious as I'll get out if that happened.
Oh my gosh!
But seriously, like, I somebody told me that the dude from Eastbound and Down, Danny McBride, and Patrick Mahomes sound the same. And ever since I've seen that, that is the only thing that's stuck in my brain. And then somebody told me and then I saw a meme where he throws just like the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite, and I cannot unsee that shit. If you do not know what I'm talking about, look that up, and that is the funniest shit you'll see all day.
Wow.
He's got that quick throw, that quick sidearm throw, and it's just like it. And I went, dang.
It's kind of true. I never thought about it, but that's that's
it is. It is so funny.
Wow.
And then the next thing, if you, of course, no basketball this Sunday, but if you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, I believe the show is called Quarterback. It's a pretty good show. They did a season or so of it. But the first season, of course, it's hard to beat. It's got Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and I cannot think of the third guy.
Mariota.
There's three quarterbacks. Yes,
Mariota.
Marcus Mariota. You are correct.
Yeah, I saw part of it.
Did you see the part, which no spoilers, but they're interviewing Patrick Mahomes, and then they start interviewing his wife / girlfriend. I don't remember if they're married or not, but they start interviewing her. And in the background, you can hear him yelling at the dogs, and it is the funniest thing in the world. Like, it's like, he's just like us. He's just like us, yelling at them dogs. Quit barking at the neighbor. It's just the funniest thing. But it was, for me, it was funny because she's like, what is he doing? Do you mind? I am talking here. They're doing my interview. And he's like, they's barking at the neighbor on the other side of the fence. And she's like, I don't care. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is just like at home. This is like my parents arguing. I'm like, good God.
I don't remember if I saw that or not. I don't know when that was or what.
Like the first episode with Pat Mahomes.
Well, then I saw it. I watch a lot of that kind of stuff like while I'm kind of falling asleep, so I might have missed some of it. But it was what I saw of it was pretty good.
It was pretty interesting. It was pretty good. I did enjoy it. I think it's actually from the 21 or 22 season. I may be mistaken. But yeah, it seems like a pretty good show. So I guess we really haven't talked a lot of football, and I hate to take up a lot of the show with some NFL talk, but Belichick fired from the Patriots. It kind of affects our boy Bailey Zapp. So I'm wondering how that's going to work out for him with a new head coach. I mean, we're not going to know. Probably not going to know anything till at least probably 6 months from now at least. But it's just something to think about. With Belichick leaving, kind of leaves Bailey's future. I won't say in jeopardy, but I would say on not solid ground. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I mean,
because they could have somebody come in and say, "I want to go a completely different direction."
Especially with the premier position, like they're not going to care as much about the long snapper. Just be like, okay, we got a long snapper, but the quarterback is going to be one of their focuses, trying to make sure that they have who they want. And if they don't like Bailey, then he easily could get shipped out of there.
Well, and here's
or
another
cut.
thing too. Just a thought is with Bailey. I mean, I thought that Belichick had more. I thought he had more credit stacked up with those Super Bowl wins. So I thought he was
Mhm.
safe for at least another season or so. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, he could have just kind of pulled a Saban and wanted to get out, and they just fired him
Right.
so that he could draw unemployment as an NFL head coach. I don't know how that works, but no, he seriously, like, they were like, maybe he was ready to get out, and yeah, that's a possibility too.
Yeah, he
Maybe
didn't
he's
seem.
looking to do something else.
He only interviewed with one team, with the Falcons, and
I heard
they,
that.
yeah, and basically whatever happened, it seemed like they were maybe getting into possibly signing him, and he just it was either him backing out or they backed out or whatever. But he didn't seem to be in like a huge desperate hurry to get a new job. He might
Well,
just be taking a break.
of course, I heard on a local radio show here, a Falcons fan was complaining about their hire because they didn't hire Belichick, a Super Bowl winning
Mm.
head coach who loves hoodies. They hired a coach that they had 2 or 3 seasons ago as their interim coach, who was an
Mm-hmm.
interim coach, and they hired as their head coach. And he's like, seriously? He's like, you couldn't go with the guy that has been proven to do well. You had to go with that guy.
Was it Raheem Morris or something? I think. I
Probably.
think that's who it
I didn't hear
is.
the name. I didn't hear the name,
Mm.
but I caught the end of it, and I thought it was hilarious on its own. So it was like, okay. But yeah, it's just there was a theory I heard. Now hear me out here. So Western Connection, Michigan head coach Harbaugh is going to the Chargers. So
Mhm.
he's going to the Chargers, and then of course Bill Belichick gets fired. They think that Belichick may go to Michigan. How funny would that be?
Oh wow, that's interesting. I mean, wow.
I
That would
thought
be
that was
crazy.
funny. I
Yeah,
thought it was funny.
but
It's an interesting theory. I don't see Belichick going back to college. I think if you succeed in the NFL, you typically stay in the NFL. Usually, the ones who don't succeed are the ones that say, "Nah, I'm good." But
yeah, well, I
that's just
mean, it's so different. I really struggle to see Belichick
I know, right?
interacting with college kids. Like especially
I
with
I
how.
I struggle to see Belichick interact with normal people, much less college kids. So,
Well,
um,
exactly. Like you got to have some maturity to deal with a guy that outwardly
yeah, he's
douchey.
well.
you
I
know?
don't know if he's necessarily douchey. My thought is that he's just. I honestly wonder if he's like on the spectrum of autism. Like, is that his
Hmm.
excuse? Is that what's going on with him? Like, he has this. He's so antisocial, and he just tells people whatever the hell he thinks because he's on the spectrum. So, I mean,
Maybe
maybe that's what it is.
that's not a
Um,
bad question,
it's
but
a theory. It's a theory. It's not a. I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's definite, but um, anyway, I digress. Let's go on to women's basketball. Actually, let me talk. We
well,
got a little Western football tracker. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, man. You want me to go ahead and take it?
You go right ahead. I looked
Yes,
up
sir.
the article, so I will put that in the show notes. So those of you who are
Yeah,
interested in it, you can get up on that.
yeah. So this is an uh, anonymous article. We call it the roster tracker.
The Ross
Anyway,
Surecliff tracker. Yes.
Seven. Anyway, the roster tracker. Anyway, so we have done a great job keeping this list together. Anyway, it really is. This is your source if you want to know what's going on with Topper recruiting. If you want to keep up with Tate Titshaw and the rest of the boys, um,
That is your
here
new
they
favorite,
are.
isn't it? That
Oh
is
my gosh,
Tate
it's funny.
Titshaw is your new favorite quarterback.
He puts the tits in Titshaw.
It's almost as
Um,
bad as what was that one dude's name? Penis. Penix. Michael, was it Michael Penix?
Yeah, that guy almost won the Heisman. You realize that was the same
I
guy,
know,
right? The
right?
guy from Washington. Yeah,
Yes, I did
yeah,
remember that was the guy, and I thought that was the funniest thing on the history of the world. I was like, "Are you serious?"
yeah. We literally like. I mean, we were his coming out party. He looked like a Heisman Trophy winner because hey, he was actually pretty good.
He was actually pretty good, and it was one of those you were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
It's
this
like I
guy's
laughed.
not
We
bad.
talked about him all the time on the show because of his name.
Yeah. So once again, as far as the roster tracker and Coach Helton and everything, he is really kind of pulling some rabbits out of his hat once again. We've got an Ole Miss transfer, Texas A&M, Marshall, Louisiana Monroe, Alabama State, Bowling Green State, Texas State. A lot of different D1 and 1AA schools, as well as some Power 5 transfers. Also, I think one of the biggest um, reports coming out the last few days was that Quantavious Leslie, aka Tick, is withdrawing from the transfer portal. Huge news. He's like the number 6 interior offensive lineman in the transfer portal, and he has decided to stay at Western.
That's great. That's good
So
news.
huge news for the offensive line. That is a massive win because he's just a really good player. He's been good for years, and he's going to stay on the hill. So good for him. Good for the Tops. Good for Coach Helton. And I mean, Coach Helton's just kind of open door policy about the transfer portal seems to work out because he's letting his guys try it, and then they realize, you know what, I really don't want to do this, and then they come
Well, the
back in.
grass isn't always greener. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen so many examples of guys, especially offensive linemen, who go and probably would have been draft picks or would have been, able to get into a mini camp at least in the NFL, and they go and they barely play at Auburn or Texas Tech or whatever, and they don't end up doing as much as they could have by just staying. So, and now with the Red Towel Trust and everything, there's a lot of positive things going on to keep these guys around. So, everybody's doing a heck of a job. There are still several people into the transfer portal. We have had Bronson Barron has transferred to Southern Utah. He's a backup quarterback. Aaron Keyes transferred to UConn. Kendrick Simpkins has committed to Baylor. There's a punter that transferred to Tarleton State. Tom Ellard has transferred to D2 at Northern State. Wes Dorsey did go to UCF. Wes Dorsey's a big loss. He is going to UCF. Desmond Baker's going to Southern Miss. He was a role player for sure. Made some impact there. Vinny Murphy is going to Tulane, so that's another offensive line going to a group of 5. And then Trey Naughton, who was Cal Naughton's third cousin, is transferring to Arizona. And he was a long snapper. So we've had some losses, but honestly, and there are still some big names out in the transfer portal, by the way, but honestly, about as good as it could have gone so far. And obviously, if you get a few more of these names, you get a few more commitments, whatever, you really could really say that you salvaged a lot of really good talent, and you can look into next year and say, hey, as long as we can figure out a few spots, it'll be just like this last year where we were thinking that we would be competitive in Conference USA versus, oh dear Lord, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
You got the Texas State guy, who it was the big quarterback pickup. It may be a little controversial. He has some questionable narratives on him or whatever, but he's going to give Caden Veltkamp some good competition. And one way or another, you're either going to have a guy take Caden's spot that is a proven group of 5 quarterback, or you're going to have Caden win the job and beat out a quality contender. So just wanted to make sure that we went over. He's a contender.
He's a contender. Yeah, I mean, definitely with the offensive line news is always great. I mean, anytime you get more big dudes back with some experience, I mean, our longtime listeners, our WKU fans, they remember the a few years back when we had basically very green, very puppish, and I say pup as in young pups, offensive line, and we struggled. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, the offense, did well, but the guys had a lot to learn really quickly, and I mean, it clogs up your offense. It slows things down when the offensive line's not able to do what they need to do. So to have an experienced offensive line interior, it helps. Exterior helps. We
Absolutely.
get some guys in there. It's great. So it's always good to hear that. And like you said, uh, correct me if I'm wrong. What is it called? Rumspringa, the Amish thing. Is that what Coach Helton's working on with the transfer portal? He does the Rumspringa and let them see what it's like everywhere else, and they're like, it's not so good there. You know what Rumspringa is? I may be saying it
Yeah,
wrong.
I'm learning. I'm
Okay,
learning right now
so
about whatever the heck it is.
so for our listeners who are curious, the Amish
I'm gonna
like
Google
to
it.
do this thing where, yeah,
Amish
that's
thing
what I thought I said it right.
where
Yes, it is a period of adolescence in which boys and girls are given greater personal freedom and allowed to form romantic relationships, usually ending with the choice of baptism into the church or leaving the community. So, like, these kids can go out and party and do
yeah,
whatever, and then they either
Rumspringa.
choose to rejoin the community by getting baptized into the church or the Amish church or whatever it is. Basically, rejoin the community, or they go out on their own. Um, but a lot of the times, and statistics show that a lot of times these kids do come back. So
Hmm.
maybe that's what it is. He's just being open with it and letting them see what it's like to go on the outside and stuff. So Rumspringa, random thing that I remembered.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
very impressed that you knew that. I've never heard of that crap at all.
um, well, see, I guess
Being honest.
we've got such a large Amish community in Allen County. I guess that's what it was. We just learned what
Oh,
Rumspringa
true.
is. Of course,
Yeah.
they were a dry county, so I don't know how well that worked out for them. Lady Top news. We've got
Ugh.
yes, the down depressing news of the Lady Toppers losing to FIU,
FIU.
which,
Yeah,
by the way,
FIU's
Western is
good,
2 games
but
back and FIU is 1 game back.
yeah,
So
because they played middle
technically,
and got murdered.
hey, that's always great news, except for when we play middle and get murdered. Um, you know,
We'll find out Saturday.
we well, we talked about this last episode. So we talked about this. So those of you who listen, what's happening. So you know, we've got 3 games to talk about, I guess, because we got to talk Law Tech too, and MTSU. But Western being a little further back, falling to FIU, the wild card, the um, the late charger, the dark horse, whatever you want to call them. They basically took over the second half and just led the rest of the way out. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
I mean,
it's kind of, but
here's my thing. I think to sum this up a little bit, I mean,
okay.
I
Sum it
think
up.
the Lady Tops are clearly in a for real offensive slump. I don't know what their daggum deal is. Like they, the last, let's say since Sam Houston on January 10th, the last several games they have not scored more than 66 points. And the rest of the year, let's look at how much they average. The rest of the year, they average 66 points, but whatever. They have they've definitely slacked off. I thought they averaged a little bit more than that, but they have not scored more than their average in the last 4 games. Um, and I really, and it was much less than their average on, like, they scored 44 one game, 60, 62, whatever. I mean, that they really have struggled to get to those numbers. So I don't know what the deal is, but they definitely have hit some kind of lull, or like we talked about the New Mexico State game. They were visibly arguing with each other, so I don't know if there's internal issues still, or if they squashed that, or
Yeah.
whatever. And honestly, like losing to FIU by 10 on the road, it's not necessarily shameful. Like FIU is a good team. They have one loss in conference. They lost the middle by 30 at home. But I mean, other than that, they haven't lost to anybody, and they have good record out of conference and whatever. They're a solid team, so it's not shameful, and it's not like panic time necessarily. But it's like, okay, they better get out of this rut pretty quickly, or they're going to be in some trouble, because they started out strong. Obviously, they had a good non-conference and won some games we didn't think they maybe would. They started out well, won the first 3 conference games and 4 out of their first 5. But then they've dropped a couple here in the last 3, and
Mm-hmm.
it's starting to be a little concerning, especially offensively. And so, if you don't have Acacia Hayes and Destiny Salary and Faustino and Meade and all these players, like you have a lot of names that can really score and go to the basket and produce something, and you're only scoring in the low 60s and 40s one game. I mean, I'm concerned here. So Sam Houston is an opportunity to get right before they play Middle Saturday. They are at Sam Houston, but Sam Houston
And
is
at Middle.
Yeah, and at Middle. Sam Houston is, what are they, like 5-13? I think I just saw 5-13.
I think you are right.
Yeah, they're
I have to pull up
5-13. Yeah, and
You're good. Oh yeah, I got it. Sorry.
yeah, it's fine.
They're
I think
0-6
they've
in
won.
conference too.
Yeah, really not good. Even at home, they're 4-5, so they are decent at home. But I mean, go down there and get right, get straightened out, and then come up to Middle and have a good game. If you don't win at Middle, nobody's gonna,
Yeah.
Want you to get lost. But I mean, let's have a good performance and do not get blown out by 45 points. Like, we need to see some life. We need to see competitiveness. And I understand Middle's really good, but let's see something to show us that you're not about to lay down the whole rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then, since I guess we need to talk about La Tech as well, they play Wednesday.
Yes,
at
next
home,
Wednesday at 7:30.
At home in Diddle. Show up and support the top 6:30 Central on Wednesday the 7th. La Tech, I think, is 8-13. So, again, a game that Western should win. Western should go 2-1 the next week.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever excuses, whatever on the road, at home, whatever. Go 2-1 this week. Have a good showing against Middle. Crap, if you can beat them, like, we're ecstatic. But win the other 2. Hang around in the standings, and let's get a decent seed, because we know Middle's probably going to be your number 1 seed. Get the 2 or 3 seed, and let's not play Middle until the championship and take our chances in the championship. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
I was just going to say, so hypothetically, the girls play Middle and lose, but they lose within 3 or 4. Are you as upset as if they got blown out by 30?
I'm
if
thrilled.
not more.
I'm thrilled.
Well, I mean, Middle has a 20-point lead, done really well. Yeah.
Yeah. If they have a 20-point lead and then they lose by 3 because they were up 20 with 4 minutes left, yeah, I'm gonna be upset. But I mean, if we can hang around with Middle at all and lose by 3, that, especially given the slump that we've been in offensively, especially the last 3 games, maybe 4 if you count that one. I mean, I'd take that every single time, almost without exception.
So the reason, and I don't want to, I know people may be listening and go, that sounds ridiculous. Why would you say that? So Middle beat Sam Houston 87-55, which we just said they're not doing very well in conference. Sam Houston's not. New Mexico State MTSU beat them 85-48, so almost 30 or almost 40 points there. They beat
Who Western
Jacksonville
lost to
State.
at home.
Jacksonville State 66-45. They also beat, like Matt was saying a minute ago, MTSU beat FIU at home 92-62. And let me tell you, that environment there is very echoey, but still. No, I saw actually no joke. I saw the stats on attendance for the Western game, and it was 400 and something people. Now the Western. Now this is what ESPN's reporting, so I don't know how many people were there. But FIU MTSU was 325 people. Like, I hate that. I'm sorry. Even for FIU girls, I hate that. It's just like that's got to be like the worst game ever.
Oh yeah, I mean
But anyway.
well the guys played at Sam Houston. It was a morgue. I call it a morgue. Whenever there's no one there, it's just like sitting in the. There's nothing going on. It's dead. You know, I mean it's kind of awkward. Like, what do you do? How do you generate your own enthusiasm? There's no response when you do something awesome. Like, it's just nothing. So
well, I think you feel more awkward in that situation because, like, when you yell, everyone hears you.
I don't know if you were on the team when we played Georgia State in the Georgia Dome.
Nope, I didn't. I did not.
That might have been Petrino or
that
something.
Was post. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a Petrino thing. Or it might have been Sanford. I don't. No, it wasn't Sanford because I wasn't on the team then. Anyway, I think it was Petrino. We're in the Georgia Dome, and of course there's like 12 people there, right?
Yeah.
And you know how I go like, let's go, O, or whatever, like just kind of saying
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I go, let's go, O. And it like in the dome you hear, O.
And everybody then, looks at you and you're like,
yeah, they're like, woo! Yeah, somebody turn around, they're like, damn, man, like, how did you do that? Man, I was like, there's nobody here. Don't give me too much credit. Like, there's not a soul in this room. It's like, you walk into a gym and you scream, of course it's going to echo.
Like that, and that's the worst. Honestly, those are the worst environments. I feel like if you are in an environment where it's like so many people, it's so loud, like it's such a greater environment. And then, of course, like if there's nobody there, it's awful.
I'll say this. I thought it was fun at FIU because we literally had so many players' families and people that wanted to come to Miami and stuff. We literally would outnumber FIU, and that was kind of fun because you've got like 500 Western people behind you cheering you on. You can hear them. They're making some noise and stuff. That was actually kind of cool. But
those are fun.
It's really got to be disheartening when you're the home team and the other team brings more fans. Like being Vanderbilt all the time, that has to be miserable.
Being that quote Vanderbilt, yes, exactly. Like, and that's my thing too with like when I remember when we went to FIU, like I always thought it was hilarious. I mean, it's a South Miami area, so there's a lot of Cuban Hispanic people there. So you literally like you'll be getting ready for the game and stuff. You're setting up the sideline and you're just listening to Cuban music, like that kind of upbeat Hispanic music the entire time. And it's just like this is different. Of course, we'd always play them like December into November, so it'd be like 86, and then back home it's like 22 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're just like, ugh, this is the worst. Do you think rebounds has a lot to do with Western's girls' problems?
Oh, that is such a good question and a great point. Yeah, they can't rebound. It's constricting on your offense, defense, whatever. When you can't finish a possession either way or extend a possession on offense, absolutely, it's a problem. What are they, -6.5 a game? That's
I don't know. I was going to say on the previous game,
I just
rebound wise, they were down technically -14. FIU had 46 to Western's 32.
That's really bad.
So
I mean, I'm looking. It's on WKU Sports. It shows -6.6 in the margin per game in rebounding.
Oh my
so
gosh.
like WKU forces 20 turnovers a game. They only commit 15, but they lose all of that in rebounding. So the
Wow.
advantage of playing that upbeat style is completely lost because you can't get the dang ball in your hand at the end of the possession. And it just really makes life difficult. Uh, and especially when you're only shooting 40% as a team, they're 39.9% on the year, and you can't get rebounds. Where's your offense coming from? Where is your extra juice that kind of helps you get over the edge in a close game or helps you finish off an opponent? Like you have to be able to get the ball, and they just can't. And there have been some games where they were absolutely completely dominated on the boards, and they probably
Yeah.
could have won if they could just held their own. And it has nothing to do with
Yeah.
size. It just has to do with the fact that they don't have any like elite rebounders, and they just rely on kind of a community effort, and they're not that good at it as a team. And so
Now
it's
I
really a
don't
gaping issue.
know.
Great question.
I don't know as far as like how many 3-pointers were taken in that game, but we were shooting 25%. So we're hitting 1 out of 4. And FIU is hitting close to like 4 out of 10. So they're about 42%. And that plays another huge factor in the game as well. So we get more rebounds and we hit more 3-pointers, and that's a different ball game.
Yeah, well, you only lost by 10. I
Yeah.
said at the half, and I think I was tweeting as read out. I don't remember if it was on read out or towel wrap, whatever. Anyway, it was a really low score in first half. If you look at it, it was I think both teams were in the 20s.
Yeah.
And then I said basically whoever catches fire here is going to run away with it. Well, FIU scored almost 40 in the second half, and Western picked it up, but they only scored about 30. And there was your difference, and
Well,
it's just
like
frustrating.
the score was 27 FIU, WKU was 22. So there's 5 points difference there. And like you were saying, FIU ended up scoring 43 more points, and Western only scored 30? No, not even that. Sorry. 30, 38. Yeah, I think that's right. Sorry. Quick
So
math.
they had a decent second half, but they were
Yeah.
so paltry in the first half that
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't overcome it, especially when FIU hit some shots in the second half too. They scored more than Western did, obviously. Good analysis there. But they scored more than Western in both halves. That's going to be a difficult formula to overcome if they outscore you in both halves.
Well, yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
normally if you lose both halves, then
you lose the whole thing.
Then you lose the game. Yeah. So, no.
You're welcome,
so
Topper fans.
That's spot on analysis there. But no, looks like Western took 28 3-point shots and hit 7. If we hit 11, hypothetically, Western wins that game. And that's just 3-pointers. I'm not even, if we kicked up a couple more, hit a couple more on the field, or even free throw, we were 50% from free throw. That's a different story. Of course, FIU shot 33 free throws. How many fouls did we have in this game? Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff contributing to the fact that Western's barely losing these games. They're screwing up a lot to lose.
Yeah.
And that's what's discouraging. If you play well and they just beat you, that's one thing. But if you play like garbage and you still lose, regardless home or away or whatever, you're screwing yourself right now when you can take that opportunity and go win the game, because they're not playing well either. You're just playing so horrible.
Yeah, you're letting them win essentially.
Yeah. You're throwing them the game.
Sorry to steal thunder there, but like you said, you've got rebound issues, you've got 3-point shot percentage issues, and now we've got foul issues. Those are 3 issues. Those are 3 nails that are going to seal your coffin right there.
That's
so
interesting coming from you.
Stat wise, everything else looks pretty good. If you can correct those 3 issues, you're going to turn the season around.
I agree.
And you've got to hit your free throws. You cannot have the other team going to the free throw line 30, and getting 20 points. 22
Well,
points is
in a 60, 70 point kind of game,
yeah.
that many, that's you're exactly right. I mean, that's given them a third of their offense because you can't keep your hands off of them.
To
I mean, have to
yourself.
learn.
Keep your hands to
Yeah,
yourself, young lady.
have some manners, ladies.
Even my 4-year-old knows not to use her hands. Anyway, well, I don't know what I'm saying because my 4-year-old thinks that a basketball is a soccer ball and she'll just go kicking it around the field. And I'm like, no, we dribble. We don't kick it. We dribble. But anyway, so the games are going to be on ESPN Plus for those of you like me who are not true fans, who are not able to go to Sam Houston, who are not able to go to Murfreesboro because why would you? Because it's Murfreesboro. And then of course the game next Wednesday is at Diddle, but it is on ESPN Plus for those of you who are not in the area. So support the Lady Tops. Pack the Houch or pack the Diddle. Don't go to the Houch. Go to Diddle. Sorry. Go to Diddle and pack the Diddle. Fiddle diddle diddle. And support the Lady Tops. They will appreciate it. It'll be a lot cooler atmosphere than it was at FIU because God help us, that sounds awful. But let's move into the men's. We've got a few minutes here to talk men's basketball. So sorry, making notes that for timestamps.
No problem, man.
But anyway, so men's basketball. I mean, can you have a better game? Can you have a better game than than the men did against FIU? It's like night and day.
Offensively, yeah. I mean, I think they said that it was the most we'd scored against a Division I team in like 6 years.
Yeah,
and this was in
wild.
conference. I mean, against a decent, like FIU's not that great, but they're not god awful either. And they have, they have talent. They have a guy that's leading the country in steals, and then they have a guy that's leading. I don't think it's the conference in 3-pointers, but he's making like 44% threes. And they literally, their offense was basically perfect from outside. I mean, they were great outside, and we just constricted them and had like, I don't know how many points in the paint, but it was like 60 to 65 to 25 or something in the paint.
Wow.
And I mean, just completely constricted them, forced them to win outside. And I mean, Dante Allen going for 30, that helps too. But
well, of course,
105-91 was
looks like 58. Looks like 58 points in the paint. It says.
Yeah, I think they said I think it was 75 points were scored between free throws and points in the paint, and then we made 10 threes. So I mean, it was very, very balanced and fun basketball to watch. Obviously, 105-91, like, and you got some shots up, and both teams were making some buckets. Really entertaining. And I saw people saying, like, well, we need to play better defense. And it's true. Like, obviously, you give up 91. You could have done better. There's no question. You can't dismiss that. But honestly, like, I think FIU just had their role players lose their minds. Like, we did well against Arturo Dean and Javante, what is his name? Hawkins or something like that.
Sure.
Javante Hawkins, yeah. Those two, those are the two I was talking about. One's the steals guy, and then Hawkins is the 3-point guy. Well, Hawkins goes 3 for 10. He shoots 2 out of 7 from 3. Arturo Dean did get 15 points, but he also had 5 turnovers. He did have 5 steals. He had this one steal where he was on his knees, and he basically was better. I don't know if take this how you want, but he was better on his knees than the Western player was standing up. But anyway, like, we really gave them trouble and honestly kind of forced them to play their bench. Well, the bench stepped up and just basically gave them a chance because their 2 main guys were not the reason that they almost won that.
Wow.
They were really, really effective. Outside of their 2 main guys, but we did a great job on their 2 main guys and obviously converted on our opportunities on offense and came out with the victory.
That's. I mean, it's great to see Western doing well. Just looking up some of these couple games in the future we're going to be watching here. It looks like, of course, Western is playing Sam Houston at home. Hush, Siri, and Diddle, and then we've got MTSU at home as well, and then we will be playing at Law Tech at 7 p.m. on next Wednesday. So that'll be an interesting matchup, all of those as well.
Yeah, huge stretch here. I mean, obviously Sam Houston is a revenge game. We really struggled with their physicality and nearly almost won anyway at Sam Houston. So I'm hoping that this version of this matchup is a little different. I do think Lander is back, so that should help with some of the struggles we've had defensively the last few games.
Yeah.
I think against FIU we probably scored 10, or they probably scored 10 points less. We might have scored less too, but I mean the defense has really struggled since Lander's been out. So Sam Houston's a big one. It's on CBS Sports on Thursday. It's a late game, but stay up and watch it.
Yes,
Interested to
definitely
see how
check
that
out.
one goes. Sam Houston's 5-1? Go ahead, man.
Yes, they're 5-1. We're 2 games back from them. So we definitely need to get a win here to kind of even things out on that end. And we need to get a win definitely against Law Tech next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Both of those will be a total flip.
Yeah. And middle is important as well. It's a rivalry game and stuff like that. You certainly don't want to alienate your fans and lose to a crappy team at home. But also, like, home games are so important this year. It seems like all across college basketball, there are some big upsets happening on the road. And so you cannot drop games at home. Western hasn't dropped a game at home yet this year. And I think the crowds are going to be good for these 2 games. They're giving out beer and hot dogs for the students.
Get
yeah.
wild.
So it ought to be a pretty well attended week. But obviously, hopefully these students come and they see the magic of Diddle and they come back.
Show up, show out. Yep.
Yeah. But, speaking of middle hate, and then we can go on to Law Tech because that's an interesting conversation too. But middle, the big game boomer. Did you see this, Devin? I posted this as towel rack and put it in the chat and everything. But big game boomer posted. Did you see it?
I think I did, but go ahead.
Murfreesboro, out of 133 Division I FBS football teams, is considered to be the very worst town. And let me see how they word this. Hold on, let me pull it up. I had it pulled up in here.
I was like, okay. I saw the retweet that
best
you posted.
College, 2024 best college town rankings. Okay, and I'm looking. Okay, WKU Bowling Green is 77th out of 133. Okay, that's not something for us to be incredibly proud of. Whatever, but middle is dead freaking last. Murfreesboro, the back fat of Nashville.
Okay,
freaking
so
dump.
Even Troy, Alabama is at 114. Like,
yeah, I mean,
and I don't know if you know anything about Troy, but Troy was nothing.
Yeah, you said there's a bunch of trees in a stadium, right? That's a great way to.
There's a bunch of trailers. Like, literally, you're getting closer to Troy, Alabama when you start seeing the trailers.
That's true.
Huntington, West Virginia is 91.
Yeah. You remember Jonesboro? That was that's 131.
Arkansas State. Yeah. That's your favorite place.
Oh, yes. Memories. Monroe.
Dude,
Monroe, Waco. I've been to some of these places.
I've been to Monroe, Louisiana. I've been to Akron, Ohio, too. And Muncie, Indiana.
I don't know if I've been to Muncie. Yeah. Oh, we played Ball State when you were like a freshman
yes,
or something,
yes,
right? Okay, that's
yes.
it.
We like ate at this little hole in the wall restaurant, and it was kind of different, but it was nice. But Monroe, it was either Monroe or Lafayette, Louisiana. When I got ringworm in Louisiana, that has
Oh,
forever been my judging place of Louisiana. I'm honestly surprised that Bowling Green's not lower, and the reason I say that is because of Scottsville Road. Like Scottsville Road traffic usually kills everything, is with Western,
yeah.
but that's
We're clearly
awesome.
a
I'm glad
not.
to see Westerns in the top 10 or top 100. I mean,
Oh yeah. But anyway, I just think it's hilarious. Middle is dead freaking last of 133 teams.
I wish
So
we could have been higher than Bowling Green, Ohio, but take what you can
yeah,
get. What
yeah.
is
I
the
mean,
lowest one on here that you were surprised at?
oh, I think the lowest. I mean, they got Houston at 121 and 122. I thought that was a
Yeah, it's
little
kind of different. Kansas at
interesting take.
123. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, Lawrence. I've been to Lawrence. Uh, I didn't go all over or anything, but I went through it one time, and I could see it being not like Kansas. The university is really interesting, but like the rest of the town is just kind of like I don't know, Russellville or something, Kentucky. Um,
um, that's great. But even the
I
funny
mean,
thing is
South Bend. I thought
Louisville.
that was interesting. That's like, I mean, Notre Dame. You don't think like South Bend is gorgeous? Like, I don't know. Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, but if you're not judging it off of the campus and you're judging the town around it, I can understand some of those.
Yeah,
Like
San Antonio.
Louisville.
San Antonio was my biggest surprise. I think 112
Louisville
at
at
for San
104 is
Antonio,
funny to me. Louisville, Kentucky,
especially
104 is
college
funny to me.
town. Yeah, especially
Well,
if you're
Louisville,
in the context of college town. That's like that seems low to me.
but Louisville is on the border of the bad part of town. Like
Yeah.
West Louisville is kind of the lower income, rougher part of town.
Hmm.
And it's Louisville based. The university sits like right at the edge of that. So all of that is right there. Um, I think
Birmingham. That seems awful low.
one of the surprises for me as far as upward is Colorado State. I mean, I've never been to Fort Collins, Colorado, but and Bloomington, Indiana, up that high. Anything about Indiana sucks, but
Yeah, Bloomington's actually. I've been there, and I thought it was.
well,
I thought it was
what
decent.
keeps Kentucky from crashing into Tennessee is Indiana sucks, but that's just my analysis.
I hear you.
But talking Western basketball real quick, we'll get back on topic here.
Yeah,
We've got
maybe.
Sam Houston next. It's going to be a tough game, I think. You just got to step up. You got to get your revenge here. We beat
Yeah.
them. Sam Houston is technically they're tied with Law Tech, so I don't know where the tiebreaker is because they've actually beaten Law Tech.
Well, then
I'm
Sam Houston would
wondering,
have the tiebreaker right now.
yes, but I'm wondering if
But
they've lost the game. They lost to Liberty. Has Law Tech played Liberty? Let's see here.
they have
Is
played
that
Liberty. They lost, or they won in overtime at La
there? You
Tech.
go. Okay,
So,
so that's what it is. Liberty has beaten one and and didn't beat the other. So that's
mhm.
why they're tied. Because Sam Houston beat La Tech, so technically they should be ahead, but with that gloss, it kind of screws them up a little bit.
Yeah, I
So
mean they've
Western,
got the upper hand on the
excuse me,
tiebreaker. You're good, man. They got
I
the
just
upper
had that
hand on
nice
the tiebreaker.
crack. Had that adolescent crack I haven't had in 20 years. Um, If La Tech loses this game, if Western beats Sam Houston this coming up game, that's going to bump us up one. I think that will actually knock them out of the tie with La Tech so far, and then we'll play La Tech next Wednesday. And if
Hmm.
we can win that game too, then that will help us to slide into a nice, comfortable position to hopefully, take it out of Sam Houston's hands eventually. Because I imagine we'll
Yeah,
have to play them one more time to take it out to
yeah. I
knock them out.
mean, I'm looking at La Tech. So they play FIU on Thursday, and then they get 6 days off to play Western at home.
Oh, good lord!
Jerks.
I know,
So
right?
yeah,
That
I
was
mean, this is
great planning.
not set up. And by the way, La Tech is like impossible to win at. I mean, they are really,
Yeah.
really, really good at home, especially the last 5 or 10 years. I don't remember, but they're like ridiculously good at home. And I mean, I don't really know why. Besides, their fans are pretty good. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
it's like a weird gym. I don't really know much
I
about
think
La
it
Tech's
is.
gym, but like,
I think it is a weird gym because I mean, they haven't had a lot of people there, but I'm guessing the acoustics are set up so it makes it sound like it's crazy
yeah,
loud.
if Western finds some way to sweep these three, I mean, Western is now, I think, the favorite because they'll have La Tech at home. They'll be in control basically of their destiny as long as Sam Houston loses one more.
Yeah.
And obviously, you'll have the marquee wins of Sam Houston and La Tech. Here's the thing though. I mean, look at the ESPN chances on Western La Tech. It's like 11.2% that Western wins.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be real, real tough to see
Yeah. That's a
Western
very close one.
pulling that off.
That's a
But who
tough one.
knows? Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean,
You're right.
you've gotta get in there and do what you can. You know, we've got to get rid of the turnovers. We have
Yeah.
to. I mean, and I think this is the biggest thing with the guys right now: turnovers and decision making. You've got to get your young guards to be able to handle stuff, and you got to get Lander healthy, which we believe he should be playing. He's been practicing all week. We believe that he's playing tomorrow and hopefully healthy for this 3 game stretch here in the next week. Um,
Okay.
but but I mean, man, it's just a tough ask to beat La Tech
Yeah.
anyway. You're down
Yeah.
Jalen Jackson, so it would be a huge, I think, coup if Western could beat La Tech and sweep this week. Be
I mean,
completely
it
thrilled
would
with
be a
two and
very
one.
big. Yeah.
Be thrilled with 2-1. I mean, La Tech, it really seems like I think probably the favorite to win the league, especially if they beat Western. They're going to have, they already have a 2 game cushion. If they beat Western, they'll have possibly a 3 game cushion or more if Western loses another game um, on WKU. So Western really, if they want to win the 1 seed, they need to sweep this week, and then they'll be in like really, really good position from there because you got rid of one
Yeah.
of your biggest obstacles in that road game at La Tech.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm just gonna say if you beat La Tech and Sam Houston, then you are definitely going to be moving up, especially because that'll knock La Tech down because that'll
yeah,
put them behind both.
yeah, we're
But
still in control of our destiny with La Tech if we sweep them. Obviously, that's a huge
huge
ask
ass.
to actually pull that off.
Yeah.
Sam Houston needs to lose one on their own, but I mean, Western still has plenty in their control. I just think it's going to be real tough to pull off 3 in a row for
Yeah.
sure.
Did you think this at the beginning of the season with Coach Lutz that we would be this close to where we are?
No, I mean, if you said 3-3 in conference, I probably would have bought that. But as far as the
Well, yeah.
overall record and the quality that we've done it, and the fact that we've frankly kind of screwed our way up to this point in conference, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, we kind of just really, really bungled the last 6 games. I mean, basically 20, I think it's 18 plus turnovers a game in conference,
Good
and
Lord.
the
Yeah.
overall season average is less than 15, meaning before
Wow.
conference we were averaging less than 14. Now we're averaging 18 plus once we've come into conference. We've
Goodness
really,
gracious.
really missed Jalen Jackson, and we've really missed Lander when he's been out. It's been difficult
Yeah.
to get the ball up the court, but when we
Yeah.
do, we're fine, and we have pieces that can score and everything. But you've really got to find somebody at point guard to be able to spell Lander. Hopefully, Lander can stay healthy. Don McHenry has to take better care of the ball. Columbe has to quit just charging in and throwing the ball away. I mean, there's a lot of Dante had a game where he just like basically vomited the ball up every time he came up the court. Like you gotta control the turnovers, and if you fix the turnovers and make sure that you get good baskets on offense, drive the ball inside, pass it into the bigs, dish out for threes, you're going to be, I think, the best team in Conference USA. If you don't fix the turnovers, you're not winning the conference tournament. You're not going to win the regular season. It's just not going to happen. You have to fix it or it's over.
Yeah, I agree. So just to kind of recap here, guys and gals, and all our listeners, Lady Tops. So both basketball teams are going to be playing Sam Houston, alternating away and home. Lady Tops are going to be at Sam Houston tonight as you listen, February 1st. That game is on ESPN Plus for those of you who are not in that area or don't travel. And then for those that who are going to be going to MTSU, that is on the 3rd, which is Saturday. That game is at 3 p.m. Eastern, and it'll also be on ESPN Plus. And, I mean, it is the worst college town in America, so don't worry about it. It's backfed in Nashville. And then, of course, Western will be playing next Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern at Diddle on ESPN Plus. If you can't make it, follow us. Or Talrack or whoever, and they will be discussing or live tweeting the games to keep those people updated. And then men's basketball, they're going to be playing Sam Houston at Diddle on CBS Sports Network. That'll be tonight, as in Thursday. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Don't be an old person. Go to the game. 8 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday against MTSU at Diddle. Show up, beat the Mutts. That'll be a great one.
Yes.
And then 7 p.m. Eastern on next Wednesday against La Tech at La Tech. That game will be on ESPN Plus for those of you who cannot go. But if you can, that'd be great. The Tops will appreciate it. So will all of the fans that are there with you.
Sure.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, La Tech, I mean, it's a big ask for people to travel that far. I mean, times are tough. Money's tight. So if you can do that, go for it. If you feel the need to support either Talrack or Redout, you can subscribe to Talrack through their little clicky button thingy. If you don't know, you can just ask Matt. He'll tell you on Twitter. Otherwise, you can go to patreon.com, Redout, and I think it's /Redout, sorry. And you can become a patron. We've got a Discord channel. We'll talk Western basketball, Western football, baseball, whatever, ping pong, darts, bowling, whatever. Jump in the chat there. We've got some old Hilltoppers that are going to join us at some point. I've got Dean lined up to join the Discord. So it'll be interesting, maybe get in there and ask those old players some questions and stuff and see what they've got to say about Western athletics. So we appreciate your support. Appreciate you listening this long. Like, share, and subscribe as always. And as always, guys, go Tops.
Go Tops. Beat middle.
Appreciate you, bud. Beat middle and Sam Houston and La Tech and you can shit. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you as always.
Yes, sir.